Okay, so Omoplata game. So last time we looked at this shallow lasso. So we're looking at the lasso game part of it, and I played it shallow when Tyrone was standing. But another reaction he can do is drop the combat base and bring his elbow to the inside. So the backer step, stand up again. So the minute I feel him dropping down, I just put that hook in. That makes sense. And now he drops down. That can kind of bring it to the inside, bro. I can kind of use that as a little bit of a lever to keep his elbow sort of not as tight as possible to the inside of the knee, which is a good strategy. So now from there, I'm keeping sleeve control. I'll be pushing on the hip. Now from there, I just push on the hip, bring my foot out. I'm turning on my left side to get my left shin to shin guard. And once I'm there, my knee, the inside of my left knee comes to the outside of Tyrone's right knee. And now immediately I put in the spider hook. And as I push to off balance him, I'm going to drive back shin to shin and try and make as much space as possible between his right elbow and his right knee, and we end up there. Okay. From there, because I have sleeve control, I need to fill the space under his right armpit with my hips. So my foot comes in the hip and I just bring my hip in, push that into my left hip, and now from there I swing my leg over or straight into our omoplata again. Again, it depends on who you're rolling with. Some people when they're standing aren't just aware of what combat base is, and maybe they think it's just Captain Morgan, where they drop down and think getting into combat base is just dropping to one knee, and they're not really paying attention to where their elbow position is. So sometimes if you're doing that, you don't even need to go shin to shin, you can just whack them with a triangle. Let's just take a look at that. So say we're Tyrone standing, I have a lasso but it's shallow, and now from this position he drops the combat base and he's there. I mean, from there I wouldn't even go into an intermediate lasso. You know, there's a massive space between his right elbow and his hip. So all I'm going to do from that position is put my foot on his hip, and then I just elevate my hip and get posture control into the triangle. And now from there, the triangle's on. But again, you know, good people are not going to do that. I just want to be aware of, I can only react to what your partner's doing. So let's just go back to the intermediate lasso. So I'm playing a shallow lasso. I have inside control of my legs. The minute I feel him dropping the combat base, that becomes an intermediate lasso. Just turn this way, bro. So what's an intermediate lasso? Shallow lasso is the sole of my foot is on his bicep. An intermediate one is I curl my instep in behind so that my instep is on his tricep. A deep one, I'd be going deeper again, and I'd be putting the sole of my foot on his lat. Each one's has positives and negatives, but in this case, when I'm playing shallow and as he drops, I just curl that in. I want to use that as a buffer. Okay, so he just can't. Tyrone wants to have that elbow glued to the inside of the knee, but if my foot's there, I can kind of use that just to create a little bit of space. Now, when I go shin to shin, I need to be on my left side if I'm putting in my left shin to shin. So I'm on my right hip. As I take this out, I hip escape, and now I come shin to shin. And then I come back up straight, and I get the inside of my left knee to the outside of Tyrone's right knee. Still have sleeve control. Now we need the kazushi, the off balance. Foot comes off the hip, and I'm going to put in a spider hook. My goal is to create space between his right elbow and his right knee. So you just push and kick out with my shin, and we end up here. Because I have collar control, my foot comes on the hip, I engage my hips, and then I just whack on my omoplata. And right from there, we finish as before. Let's just get one more angle on that one, bro. You're on this side. So Tyrone's standing, I have a shallow lasso. The minute he drops the combat base, I'm putting in that intermediate lasso. I do not want connection with his right elbow to the inside of his knee. So once we're there, okay, I can use my foot on his thigh to hip out, and I'm already making that little bit of space. So when I get my foot out, I turn on my left hip and I come in shin to shin. I come up straight, inside the knee to the outside of his. put in the spider hook. Now we work the Kazushi, the off balance throws, keeping his elbow glued to the inside of his knee. So I'm pushing with the spider hook and extending the shin to shin to create a little bit of space. Once I'm there, foot comes on the hip, engage my hip, and now straight into our Omoplata. So that is our Omoplata setup from the intermediate lasso guard.